Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Introduction to Islam. I'm Dr. Waleed El-Ansary, and I wanted to briefly introduce myself before asking you to share something about yourselves and what motivated you to take this course. I was born in Cairo, Egypt, but first came to the U.S. when I was 2 years old while my father was starting his PhD at Ohio State University. My early education was actually at a Catholic preschool in Columbus, so when I started teaching at Xavier in Cincinnati with its Jesuit Catholic tradition, I felt I was completing the circle. We're living through a relatively new chapter in the history of the study of Islam in the West, in which Muslim scholars write about Islam in English and Western languages. So I want to put my cards on the table at the very beginning of the course. As you can probably guess from my name, I'm Muslim, but I also have degrees from Western universities. And what I'll try to do is to present the Islamic tradition from the Islamic point of view with full awareness of modern Western methods and scholarship, hoping to bring some of the knowledge of the Islamic tradition as it's lived and accepted by the vast majority of Muslims. But I'll do so in a language that's understandable to a Western audience with the aim of creating better understanding. One of the authors we'll be reading is Sayyid Hossein Nasr, the leading scholar of Islamic studies in the West. I had the privilege of studying under him both as an undergraduate and graduate student. I first met him through my father, who was a professor at George Washington University, GW, when Dr. Nasr first came there as a university professor in 1984. My father attended one of his lectures and came home that day saying that he had just met the most brilliant scholar he had ever seen in his life, and that I had to take classes with him, since I was a student at GW as well. I said, "Yes, sir," and I took Dr. Nasr's Introduction to Islam the following semester as a sophomore. I was blown away by him, the course, and his background, which included degrees in physics from MIT, geology and geophysics from Harvard, and a PhD in the history and philosophy of science from Harvard. It was also the first time I had heard that there was such a thing as Islamic physics, not just Muslims who do physics. Of course I had heard of Islamic law and ethics before, but Islamic physics? That was completely new to me, and that really changed my life, because I learned how to find God in all things from an Islamic perspective. It wasn't just that you have Islamic ethics on one hand and then modern science on the other, but there was actually an Islamic approach to science itself. And the same thing applies in a Christian context, especially here at Xavier, given our mission to find God in all things. I think that's very relevant for this course. So I hope this course sparks in you some of the interest that Sayyid Hossein Nasr sparked in me over 30 years ago.